обновленной редакции. Хорошо.
Через несколько секунд после взрыва диаметр пылевого столба составлял около 10.
Will Vladimir Putin go nuclear? The Russian president is making fresh threats. Today he sent another warning to the West. Putin says if Russia is attacked, it reserves the right to respond with nuclear weapons. Listen to this.
We reserve the right to use nuclear weapons in the event of aggression against Russia and Belarus as a member of the Union state. All these issues have been agreed upon with the Belarusian side, with the president of Belarus, including if the enemy, using conventional weapons, creates a critical threat to our sovereignty.
Putin has made such threats before. So what's the big deal about this one? Why is it making headlines? Because Putin is redefining Russia's red lines. He has revised the country's nuclear doctrine for the second time in 4 years, and it sends a clear message to Ukraine and its Western backers. If Russia is attacked by any conventional weapon, if it detects any incoming attack, whether it's missiles, drones or aircraft, Russia could respond with nuclear weapons. That's the message in a nutshell.
We will consider such a possibility as soon as we receive reliable information about a massive launch of aerospace attack means and their crossing of our state border, meaning strategic or tactical aircraft, cruise missiles, drones, hypersonic missiles and other aircraft.
You may have heard of the no first use policy with respect to nuclear weapons. It basically means that you won't fire nuclear weapons first. No first use. You'll only resort to nukes when you come under a nuclear attack yourself. India follows this policy. A lot of countries do, but Russia is evidently junking it. It says it will use nuclear weapons in the event of any attack, nuclear or conventional. The question is why? Why is Putin issuing this threat now? Well, he's responding to Ukraine's attacks inside Russia. The incursion in Kursk. In August, Ukrainian troops captured parts of the region, the Kursk region, and they now claim to control territory here along with some 100 Russian settlements. They're in Ukrainian control. Now, this offensive has emboldened Zelensky. He wants to launch a bigger offensive. He's been pushing his Western partners to support his plans. Zelensky wants to use Western missiles in this operation, like the British-made Storm Shadow missile and the American ATACMS system. Both are long-range missiles. They can be used to strike deep inside Russia. The West is yet to make up its mind on letting Ukraine use these weapons. But Putin seems to be preempting the threat. So if Ukraine hits Russia with a missile or any other long-range weapon, he says he might retaliate with a nuclear attack. That is the warning from Vladimir Putin. And Russian mouthpieces have been amplifying it. For the past few weeks, they've been discussing war scenarios. Where could Russia deploy its nukes? How would it showcase its capabilities? And one of the options being discussed is this. For Russia to build replicas of Western cities like London and Washington, D.C., these would feature mock-ups of famous landmarks like the Buckingham Palace, the Big Ben and the White House. Then they would be destroyed by nukes. An expert from a Russian think tank gave this idea. He made these comments on Russian TV. So the nuclear rhetoric is getting louder. And Zelensky is raising an alarm. He says there will be an escalation from Russia and that Putin is gearing up to strike Ukraine's energy infrastructure, specifically its 4 nuclear plants.
Now Putin does seem to be planning attacks on our nuclear power plants and their infrastructure. Any missile or drone strike, any critical incident in the energy system could lead to a nuclear disaster.
Zelensky, as you can see, is in the U.S. He addressed the United Nations General Assembly yesterday. He also met U.S. President Joe Biden. He's using this trip to build support for a victory plan, the details of which remain scarce, but it's basically a push for more military support and more security guarantees. Joe Biden has just a few months left in office. So Zelensky is perhaps hoping to extract as much as he can from the Americans. Will Biden support his victory plan? We don't know that yet. But Zelensky is not leaving the U.S. empty-handed. He is getting more military aid worth $8 billion this time. This includes more weapons and military equipment. And this should be enough to sustain Ukraine at least till the end of Biden's term. But after that, after Biden's term in office, Ukraine's fate looks uncertain. If Kamala Harris wins, Zelensky can hope for some continuity. If Donald Trump wins, all bets are off. So Zelensky is trying to Trump-proof Ukraine. How? By winning more friends. And his hopes rest on India, among others. A new report came out yesterday. It said that Ukraine is counting on India's help to broker peace with Russia. The story refers to Prime Minister Modi's recent engagements with Zelensky. They've met at least thrice in 4 months. First at the G7 in Italy in the month of June, then in August when Modi travelled to Kiev, and then earlier this week when they met in New York. They discussed a potential peace deal. And apparently this was Prime Minister Modi's advice to Zelensky. If he wants the war to end, he should be open to compromise. That's what Modi said to have told Zelensky. Be open to a compromise. The report does not spell out what that compromise could look like. Remember, India has refused to support any peace deal which involves Ukraine giving up its territory. And this has been Ukraine's position too, not conceding land to Russia. Perhaps that's why Ukraine sees India as one of the few reliable mediators in the conflict. But would Russia agree to this? Is it ready to negotiate on these terms? Putin's nuclear rhetoric does not inspire confidence.